Hey y'all, welcome to my first ever podcast episode. I'm starting a new podcast about grief and I'm going to title it Grief, Grow, Relearn, Coping, Heal, and Forgive. A little bit of a backstory about me. My name is Delaney. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Currently 24 years old. I'll be 25 in March. I lost my father to a drug overdose, which we later found out to be fentanyl poisoning, December 8th, 2021. So I did just hit 4 years of losing my father. Fourth Christmas, fourth holiday, fourth year without him. And I don't know, I have so much to say about this topic and just a lot of insight and personal feelings and thoughts that I just want to get out there somewhere. I talk out loud to myself a lot, or to my dad, or I write letters, or I make videos on my phone and never post them anywhere. But I think one, this could be a really good outlet for me. Two, it could be a good outlet for someone else. Someone else can relate in any way, whether you are struggling with an addiction, or you have a loved one who is, or you lost someone to an addiction, or mental health, because that also plays a part in addiction, especially my father's. I just want this to be a safe, non-judgmental place for those struggling or those dealing with grief. Any form of grief. It doesn't have to be from an addiction. It doesn't have to be a parent. It can be a grandparent, a friend, an uncle, an animal, whatever, whoever you have lost that means something to you. And I've learned a lot about addiction and mental health, and about grief and life and relationships and what should be important. And losing my father completely changed everything for me. It changed the things I value in life, the things that I thought were important versus what really are not important. I wouldn't say I was materialistic, but I kind of was in a way, and now I'm not anymore at all, because losing my father also taught me, you literally cannot bring anything with you besides feelings, memories, love. I just kind of want to add in here, what is addiction? I kind of just skipped over it. So addiction is a chronic relapsing brain disorder characterized by impulsive substances seeking and use to engage in behaviors despite harmful consequences, involving complex brain circuit changes, genetics, and environmental factors, leading to a powerful urge that overrides self-control. It's considered a treatable medical condition affecting physical health, relationships, mental health, and overall quality of life, and can involve drugs or alcohol, or behaviors like gambling and shopping. In this case, we are talking about drugs. My father was addicted to crack cocaine, overdosed 3 or 4 times before he actually passed away from fentanyl poisoning, which is what he actually passed away from. Also, I was saved his life all the other times that he OD'd in his house. So a lot of trauma before the overdose, and a lot of paranoia that was installed in me before he actually passed away because of the previous overdoses. And I will talk more about all that in the first year, because even though that's before my dad passed away, I will talk more about the months leading up to him passing away and stuff like that. To be honest, I was quite oblivious. I thought he was getting sober and doing better and stuff. That is just true how isolating it is, how much they try and keep it a secret because they're full of shame and guilt and regret. I mean, they don't want to use, they don't want to be high, they don't want to continue this awful cycle, but they continue the awful cycle because, one, it's what they know. Two, the physical withdrawals and the mental withdrawals are so horrible. I would hear my dad sick and it literally sounded like he was dying from withdrawals. So I know they are very bad, and that is also what makes people go back, and then having to face the consequences of their addiction and everything that has happened because of their addiction. It's really hard. I just say put yourself in their shoes and just think. And have some compassion, because it's not just something that they can stop. If they could, they would, and it wouldn't be an addiction, and we wouldn't have these problems globally, because it's not just in my state or in my city. It's a nationwide, worldwide, global issue. Especially fentanyl. Fentanyl is killing people. It is taking over. People are becoming addicted to it. I mean, it is so fatal. My dad did not have enough cocaine in his system to pass away. Fentanyl is what killed my father almost instantly. I just want you to also think about that, because some of these people, they're not trying to overdose, they're not trying to die. Yes, they're making the choice to use, but they're not making the choice to die. And I think that's important, and I think that gets kind of lost in everything. And then there's a stigma around addiction, so it's hard to try and understand and have compassion for these people who are human beings and who are going through things, and it's just one way that they use to cope. And people just don't understand, and they treat it like such a taboo topic when it is not. It's not a taboo topic. And it's very common, and it happens way more then it's talked about. And just because alcohol is more common, it doesn't make it better, but there's not like a taboo topic around alcohol or alcoholism. So I don't understand why there is a taboo topic and stigma around addiction and drug addiction. I just want you to like keep that in mind and have an open perspective on this topic. I know I'm kind of like all over the place right now. I'm just trying to give like a general backstory on me and why I'm making this podcast. Just a backstory on my father too. My dad struggled with addiction my whole life, literally since he was like a teenager. I have an older brother and 2 younger sisters. Older brother has a different dad and my baby sister has a different dad. So only me and my middle sister have the same mom and same dad, which I'm honestly really glad and grateful. I have a sibling that also has him as a father. My dad struggled my whole life and it wasn't easy. We didn't have an easy childhood. It wasn't a great childhood. I mean, my grandparents and family tried and did their best, but there's a lot of abuse and neglect and emotional problems. Both my parents were completely emotionally unavailable. Obviously, my dad was struggling with addiction and mental health. My mom was always working and just tired all the time. So it was just a very chaotic, unstable living environment for most of my childhood. And then my teenage years, I mean, it didn't get better. I actually lost contact with my dad for like 3 years. He was in and out of prison, in and out of rehab, trying to get clean. He was clean for 2 years. He went to Connecticut. I think he should have stayed out of state. I think coming back here was unfortunately the start to his downfall and getting back into addiction, the people he was around, and my dad just couldn't get out of that lifestyle. I'm like moving, like swerving in my chair. I'm just anxious. Talking about this stuff is hard. And I don't know who's gonna see this video. It's going online to millions and millions of people. It's just a little nerve-wracking, but I think this is really what I want, and everyone has always told me to start a podcast. So here I am. This specifically is going to be about grief and just my journey and how I'm feeling and just everything related to this horrible long life journey I will be on, trying to navigate and figure out. Kind of just like the intro, first episode, again, just like giving you a backstory, introducing myself, saying hello. And I think the episode after this, I want it to be specifically about like the first year, and then the episode after that, the second year, the third, the fourth, because I'm at the 4th year mark. So I think I just want to get up to date to like where I am, how I feel, everything I felt in the process and leading up to this point, and then it'll be just random videos about grief and how I feel, family dynamics, and there's so many things. Grief is so many different layers, and then addiction is so many different layers. I also was the one who found my father, so there's so many layers and trauma within being the one finding him deceased too. And I was the one who lived with my father for the last 5 years of his active addiction, and a lot of my family, almost all of my family, they did give up on him. You know, they cut ties. He didn't talk to really anyone besides me and my sister and my grandpa, which is his dad, my papu, like here and there. It's really sad, and it's hard for me now because I don't really have that like family support, that family like group dynamic to like confide in and talk about my father and share stories and keep his name alive. Like part of me kind of does feel like I'm doing it all on my own, which has been really hard and honestly isolating and sad, and I don't want my father to feel sad. I hope he's not sad. I literally like wrote that in my letter to him today, because that is the last thing that I want for him, is to feel sad that people are not honoring him in the way that I feel like they should be, and maybe he feels like they should be. Everyone's grief journey is different, and obviously, like I said, there was a lot of hardships with my father and the family dynamic and everyone's individual relationships and their relationship as of a family as a whole. It's a lot. So I am grateful for, you know, my boyfriend and my friends and my grief group, and I'll talk more about grief group and I'll talk more about everything as more of the episodes go on. Another thing I wrote in the letter that I wrote to him today is I don't feel like I will have my true peace until I'm reunited with him. And that's when I pass away, and I know that sounds like morbid and whatever, but like that is true. That will, I don't want to say solve a lot of things for me, but it will give me so much closure. It will give me so much peace and happiness, and reuniting with him and my ayah, who I also found deceased, unfortunately. And my dad and my ayah also passed away in the same room in this house that I live in, not this room, but the room across from me. And I also found her deceased, so it's just a lot of, I almost have this like paranoia and anxiety about grief and death, and also because to know that I will forever like have to feel this way is so hard and painful, and I don't wish that on anyone ever, because it's the most painful, confusing, conflicting feelings and emotions, and it's so like dooming. I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat it. It is such a dooming feeling to know I will always have this pain, and it's so deep still. It's so deep rooted. It always will be. I mean, losing someone, especially in a horrible, traumatic, unexpected way, you'll never get over it. You'll never move on. It will never not be there. I also wrote in my letter that like it's always there, but it's literally like a wave. It's like an ocean. Like the water's always there. Sometimes it's calm and chill, and sometimes it's crazy and crashing everywhere, and it's a mess, and it's like so overwhelming. And that's literally grief, because it's always there. It's just like different levels of pain and intensity. I actually did a painting on grief and a wave, and it's just a perfect representation. And it can be so deadly, but it can be so beautiful. And I mean, it can bring a rainbow, but it can bring destruction. And that is grief. That is truly grief. And another thing I wrote is like, times I feel the same things and feelings and thoughts like repeatedly and over and over and over again. And that is grief. And times I feel new feelings or different thoughts that I haven't felt before. I haven't felt in a while. And that is also grief. It's so many layers and components, and especially it just depends how you have lost your loved one. And grief shows up differently for everyone, and it depends how often you allow it to come up and to happen. I mean, sometimes it's coming up at inappropriate times. Maybe I'm at work, or I'm just not in a safe place of where I feel like I can, or I want to cry, or it's not an appropriate place to cry. And then, you know, I try and like push those feelings down, and then you have to remember to bring them back up and work through them, because if you're constantly pushing them down, then they will just continue to come up when you least expect it, or when something reminds you of that person, or you get triggered by something, a smell, a taste, a sound. Like literally anything can trigger fight, flight, or freeze. And it's crazy that that's all it takes is just a little remembrance, and you're just right back in that same spot or situation. And for me, that's finding my father, or even before finding him, just having the worry and paranoia of possibly finding him or getting that call. And then that's another thing too, like my papu, my dad's dad, is really sick with cancer right now, so I have this constant anxiety of I'm going to get the call that he has passed away. Fortunately and unfortunately, I am in different states than him, so I would not be the one to find him, but I want to be close with him. I just want to be with him all the time. That's why I said fortunately and unfortunately. So it's just this constant like anxiety. And then again, it's constant anxiety to know that I will always feel this way. 4 years, it's still fresh, it's still new. I don't know how to explain it either. Like the first 2 years, you're so numb, especially the first year. You're just numb. You're trying to survive. You're trying not to kill yourself. You're really just in survival mode. It's not even autopilot. It's just true survival mode. You're just trying to get through each day. And then I feel like the second year, it's still that. You're still just trying to survive, starting to come to the routine of the new normal of not having them there. But then like the third year and the fourth year, I feel like it hits so hard, and it's so just raw. I mean, the first and second year is so raw and fresh, but this year it's still raw. It's just not as fresh. It's like coming to terms more with that this is real, this is my reality. My father is gone and he will not be coming back. That's also so painful though, because it's almost nicer to live in this delusion of they will come home, they will walk through the door, they will call me, or I will see them again. Like, I don't know, because that it's like false hope in a way, but hope is one of the only things that I feel like get people through really dark and horrible times, is having hope. Because if you don't have hope or faith, like what else do you have? And grief and loss is one of those things that I feel like that's where people lose the hope, they lose the faith, or maybe they turn to it. I don't know, it's just a really complicated thing, and the more time that goes on too, it's so painful for me. Like, I don't want time to continue. I don't want to keep going farther away from the day that I lost him. Like, I want to feel still connected to him and connected to his physical being, and like I want to feel connected to that day, because that was the last time of him being here and my last memory. I also wrote about this, like, it's hard for me to remember life before he passed away, and I think that it's a huge thing with trauma for sure. But all I have now are videos and pictures and memories, and I don't have a lot of pictures and videos in general. I just hate that I'm not remembering, or I'm having a hard time remember. And then I also hate that like it's even hard for me to remember like the first year and the second year. It's a blur. Honestly, it's a blur, and that's because I was just trying to survive days and get through the hours. But like, I want nothing more than to remember that and those first 2 years, because it was so fresh. And again, I just want to continue to feel connected, and as time goes on, I do feel less connected. I'm sure other people dealing with grief might relate, or maybe not, I don't know. But this is just how I feel, and that's why I try and do so many things to continue to make me feel connected to my dad, and also to remind him that I'm not forgetting about him. I never will forget about him. I will always honor him, include him, and love him, and keep him alive, and talk to him, and like, I will always share stories with other people about him. It feels like my duty to do that for him and for myself. I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that, but there's just so many layers and things, and the holidays are really, really hard. I've just been struggling. I've been super emotional. And then also, I don't even know if I talked about this, but I have this journal, and this is where the name of the podcast came from. It's like coming off now. This is where I write like all my letters to my dad, and I started doing it the second year he passed away, I'm pretty sure. When was the first journal entry? Yeah, second Father's Day without him is when I first started writing in it, and I wish I would have done it the first year. I didn't think about it. It wasn't even on my mind. I write to him for every holiday, anniversary, birthday, everything. I write to him, and then I read it out loud, and it's kind of just like my way of talking to him and filling him in, and again, just keeping him included. And I do other things, obviously, to keep him included and just let him know I'm thinking of him all the time. This is a really like personal, deep connection thing that I do, and I just cry when I read it out loud, and it feels so healing and empowering, but it also feels so sad, and I get this like pit in my chest and in my stomach again of like anxiety and just pain. It's just so horrible. And the holidays in general are hard, let alone missing someone and grieving someone. Even if they didn't pass away close to the holidays, just not having them here is so hard and painful. And then especially if they did pass away close to the holidays or within the holidays, it's horrible. Like, it couldn't have happened at a worse time. Not that any time would have been better. I just want to come on here because I'm editing this video back, and I realized I didn't really share that much information about me. Like I said, my name's Delaney. I'm 24 years old. I currently am a full-time nanny, and I'm also currently in school full-time to become an art teacher. I'm going to school to do my bachelor's in elementary education with an emphasis on teaching art. I also do have an art business. My name is djules333. I will have the handle right here. You can look me up on Instagram, but I will also have everything in the description box, and I'm working on a new website that will be uploaded hopefully by the end of January. I sell everything from paintings to jewelry, crystal jewelry, necklaces, bracelets, earrings. I also have some handmade magnets, rock magnets that I go find at the beach, and then I tumble them. There will also be some sea glass art up there very soon. I have a ton of tie-dye pieces for adults and children. Literally so much good stuff, all handmade by me, so be sure to go check it out. I love art. This is my art room that I'm recording in right now. I love art of all kinds, mixed media, painting, jewelry, beaded artwork, like crafting, knitting, crocheting, junk journaling, literally any form of art I love. And I love animals and nature. I love to go hiking and paddleboarding, and I love to travel and explore places. I'm a huge foodie. I love to eat and try new drinks and new food. My boyfriend and I love to go to new restaurants around our city. I'm just a super family-oriented, homebody kind of person, but I do love to go out there and be social and have adventures in life. I love blind boxes, as you can see behind me, and on my shelf I have many more. My dad's adopted parents are from Greece, so my dad was also adopted, but family is family to me. They've been blood, and they have treated me like their own, and I treat them like my own. This is actually my childhood home and my dad's childhood home, so this house has been in the family for 3 generations, which is awesome. I have a dog named Blue, a cat named Kuza, and a turtle named Tiny. I also have a boyfriend who I've been with for 4 years. I also have been inpatient in the mental hospital quite a few times. I have my fair share of that, and you know, all of everything that comes with mental health. That is a little bit more about me. If you have any more questions, comment them down below. I would love to answer them for you. I feel like I've just been rambling, and I went in like a million different directions, and I just really wanted to make this podcast happen, so this is me making it happen. I'm going to try to upload a podcast once a month, and I really hope you guys will stick around and see this podcast through with me. Thank you for watching this video. I'm sending love if you're dealing with grief, struggling at all this holiday season, or just in general. Thank you so much for coming to the first episode of Grief, Grow, Relearn, Coping, Heal, and Forgive. Thank you for watching. Peace.